Okay, guys, on this Monday webinar, this wrap-up session, it's not really wrapping up anything because we haven't done anything today, so it's the Monday webinar, and I want to talk about some good setups that I see coming into the week, and some, some bigger trades and some big setups and big movements we're looking for. And we definitely have some of those. So I'd love to discuss those with you guys. And I'm open to comments. Any comments you have, any questions about anything, just ask me. Let me know. I'm happy to chat about anything. And I'm also going to discuss a couple little quick details here regarding those of you that would like to try out our live trading group. You can go to Day Traders FX right here, and you can get a 5-day free trial to join us in the trade in our live trade room here. We are on. I do one of these sessions every single day. Well, Monday through Thursday we do them. We talk about all the setups and all the trades to be looking for. We also have live morning sessions every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we have a lot of access and a lot of stuff going on here. One little detail for existing members and possible new to be members: the price to the trade group goes up tomorrow. I'm raising it because there is a lot of activity and a lot of work put into this, and we're making some pretty fantastic pips. And so the price will go up tomorrow. Anybody that is currently a member, you will not be affected. Your price will not change. And anybody that wants to join after tomorrow will pay the new price that will be posted tomorrow. So if anybody does want a membership or a trial run on here, today would be the time to get that, because tomorrow it will be more expensive. And I'm happy for you to wait till after tomorrow and pay more money for it, but if you want to save a couple of bucks, it'd be a great time to start up today. Okay, guys, let's have a little look at what we have on the calendar this week. First of all, you can see that we have like 11,000 news reports. It's just endless news this entire week. So let's peek at a couple of the most important ones. Today's been a bank holiday for the U.S. We have some stuff coming out for Japan today. We have monetary policy meeting minutes for Australia in about 15 or so minutes. So that's going to be a semi-big deal. Nothing too crazy happening on Tuesday. Tuesday will probably be a little tiny bit of a slow day, but you never know. There's always room for surprise. And then Wednesday is going to be a big one. We've got all the UK bank votes and all of that stuff. They're easing, their quantitative easing, asset purchasing is going to be going on, and then later on Wednesday we're going to have the FOMC meeting minutes, so that's big for the dollar. Thursday we've got quite a few announcements all across the board for dollar, euro, just everything. It's going to be a pretty busy day. And then Friday we've got some retail sales for the UK, which is a big one, and we've got existing home sales for the US and retail sales for Canada as well. So it's going to be a pretty big day, or excuse me, a pretty big week ahead of us. Sometimes when we have so much news, it gets kind of crazy, but again, we're looking for bigger setups. We're looking for bigger moves. I'm not really interested in scalping the day-to-day activity. When these big moves happen, I love to trade bull and bear flags. I love when these big movements run us up into major support or resistance levels and give us big 3 and 4 and 500 pip setups. And so any kind of conditions, bring them on, because we're going to be totally 100% ready for them. And it's going to be excellent. As you can see, I wasn't on Friday. We don't have live sessions typically on Friday, but for those group members, our dollar CAD hit our profit target. We set that thing for a week and a half, but gave us 195 pips. So nice little move there. And we'll talk about some more dollar CAD trades we have coming up here. Okay, so real quick on the euro dollar. I don't know if any traders in here are really excited about the euro dollar, because I am totally not. I mean, I'm just going to say that I have nothing that I think is worth looking at on the euro dollar for the moment. So if you guys have anything, let me know. But I've got absolutely nothing. We have a little weekly pivot down here for the current week. And the only thing that I see that's worth even keeping an eye on is this channel, and if we get a breakout of this channel. So the top of the channel here is about 137.37. which isn't too far away. It's only about 40 pips or so away. And the bottom of the channel about 134.75. And anything in the middle I'm pretty sure is going to be messy, horrific chop. So if you have something going on in the euro dollar right now, you're trading it, you're doing something with it, best of luck to you, because I'm not touching the thing with a 10-foot pole until we get some clarity, until we get something telling us that there's going to be, some clear direction, some sort of setup. And it right now meets 100% of 0 criteria that I look for. So there's not really too much that I'm excited about on the euro dollar for the moment. But the pound dollar, this one is starting to get super interesting. It's getting super interesting. In fact, what I'm looking at on the pound dollar is we have quite a few big news announcements this week. So keep that in mind. We got to make sure that we don't try to jump into anything pound dollar too prematurely, because we do have some big news. We've got central bank stuff, the interest rate votes coming up. We've got retail sales, which is typically a big mover for the pound, and so we got to keep an eye on that. But the one thing that I'm looking at hugely right now, if we zoom out this daily chart a little bit, we have a really nice rising wedge. So this rising wedge right here, let me get rid of those fib levels. This rising wedge is just bouncing around, heading up, doing its thing. And we had a big price rejection off the top of that wedge. Now you probably can't see that too well, and I'll zoom that in a second, but I just wanted to show that this rising wedge is supported a couple of times. It's hit it back here in October, and it's hit it a couple of times back here in December, and then we tapped it right up here in January, and then we had this big price rejection come up and hit it right here and turn it around. Now, does that mean I think we should be shorting the pound dollar right now? No, but it is interesting that there is so much rejection off that level, because ultimately what I'm looking for in a rising wedge, we want to see a breakout, and we're obviously a good little distance from a breakout, probably 200 pips, maybe even a little bit more. But if this turns into maybe a double top or something along those lines, or maybe a head and shoulders pattern, this could be a left shoulder, this could be turning into a head, and we can get a right shoulder up here. Something along those lines could definitely happen, so we want to keep an eye on that. Remember that rising wedges and falling wedges are oftentimes early warning signals of bigger patterns, like head and shoulders patterns or double tops or bottoms. So we've got this huge rising wedge in the works. We have all these missed daily, weekly, and monthly pivots down below. Now, the question that a lot of people will ask is, you like to target missed weekly pivots, that's excellent. What if there's a bunch of missed weekly pivots above and a bunch of missed weekly pivots below? What do we do with that? Well, the other thing is, that's why I look at this 200 moving average so much. And remember, the markets kind of need to touch the 200 moving average, and the further away they get and the longer time they spend away from that 200 moving average, the more overextended they get. And this pound dollar has not touched the 200 moving average in a very long time, and we have all these missed weekly pivots down here. So I am absolutely against probably the better judgment and recommendations of every trader on earth. I'm looking to short the pound dollar as soon as we get confirmation. Now, confirmation, once again, could be in the form of a double top, a head and shoulders pattern, breaking of this rising wedge, something. We're definitely not there yet, but we are looking for it, and we're looking to target a very minimum 160-200 and more likely 160 and even 158.50. So I'm absolutely looking to target those levels on the pound dollar as soon as we get that confirmation. But we're not there yet. Sometimes these trades will take a little bit of time to set up. This one could be another week. It could easily be another week. It could be a few days. It could be, who knows. But it's not far off, but it's not quite there just yet. And as soon as it gets there, we will be shorting it and looking for a minimum 500 pip profit target with very likely a 6 or even 700 pip profit target. In the meantime, on short-term stuff, I don't know that there's necessarily anything on the short term that I'm looking to trade. This little guy right here, this 166.70, you can see the market popped up above that on Friday, and it's coming right back down to it. So I'll keep an eye on that level. But again, I'm looking for the bigger setup. I'm looking for a topping pattern on the pound dollar and the chance to start shorting it down to down towards 160 and even beyond. So long term, I'm absolutely bearish pound dollar. Short term, it probably will press a little bit higher before going lower, but I'm definitely looking for that bearish move there. So that's pound dollar. Again, this is kind of the outlook. So remember, what we look for is you know, these webinars are to kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm looking for this week. And then the follow-up webinars tomorrow night and the night after, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is where I get really specific and we talk about even short-term trades. But I just want to kind of show you some of the longer-term, bigger setups that I'm specifically looking for right now. Okay, so Aussie dollar. The one thing that's going on interesting about Aussie dollar, we had this falling wedge down here. This thing, you know, was making its run, and we broke out of this long-term descending trend line, and the Aussie dollar seems to be holding pretty well above that, and it's kind of topped out almost to the highs of January. It came just shy of that. But you can see that this 90.65 has turned out to be a pretty interesting level. So long term, or not long term, but longer term, I'm still looking to target up here 92.50. I think we're going to get to 92.50, which is the 200 moving average. Remember we talked about markets have to come back to those moving averages, and the Aussie dollar is going to make its way back to that 200 moving average sooner than later. And we've got a missed daily, weekly, and monthly pivot right in that cluster of 92.35 to about 92.60. So I'm going to be targeting about 92.50-ish area, and an entry could be taken at the break of this little double top high right here. So I'm going to keep an eye on this 90.65, and if we break above that, then that could be a short-term entry, and as long as we stay above that level, then I will hold on to it to 92.50. So 90.65 is going to be an interesting area to watch. And if we break that, let's hang on to 92.50. And I think that we will, I don't know if easily is a good term here, but I think we'll have a fairly decent time getting up to that 92.50. So again, I'm long above 90.65 Aussie dollar, targeting that 92.50 area. So we'll see if we can clear that weekly high and so on. Probably leave a little weekly pivot down here. We'll see how that goes, but everything looks pretty good for a move like that on the Aussie dollar. So definitely excited about that. At the moment, all the yen pairs, I don't know if we have any big yen traders in here, euro yen, pound yen, anyone. I love trading them when there's a good setup, but I swear I don't see a good setup on any of the yen pairs right now, or at least nothing's jumping out at me. Not to say that there's not a good setup, but nothing is jumping out at me, so I have no interest in any yen pairs right now or trading any of that stuff. So I'll keep an eye on them, but at this moment, nothing looks appealing to me on any of the yen pairs. Our dollar CAD, so our dollar CAD, here was our profit target, 109.50. It was just right down here around the lows of Friday. So the dollar CAD, you know, came creeping down here. It took us, you know, again, we got into this thing all the way at this breakout back here. End of January, we entered this trade, and it bumped around for 2 solid weeks before finally getting to our almost 200 pip profit target. But the interesting thing that it's done here, for those of you that may not know, I love watching Friday highs and Friday lows. I think those are super great. And the dollar CAD has made a nice little Friday low here, about 109.40, which is also right on the 200 moving average on the 4-hour chart. So when we look at something like that, we can say, okay, well, this is a nice little pullback to that 200 moving average. Everything's great there. Yes, that's very true. But also the fact that it has hit that 200 moving average and then started to consolidate around that, I will absolutely take a break of this Friday low. I'm short dollar CAD below 109.40 because we have a nice missed weekly pivot down here at 108.20. So we have at least a fairly easy 100 pip profit target, short dollar CAD below 109.40. So I'm going to be looking for that. And again, I think we have a great profit target for 108.20, 108.100. If this thing were to really pick up some crazy momentum, we could see it head as low as the 10600s. But I'm not that optimistic yet. I'm more just looking for kind of a shorter term trade. Sell the break, target 108.20. You know, grab 100, 110 pips, call it good, be done. And Brian, your question, where did we start our dollar CAD trade? And we got into this guy right here. So right at the break of this, there were several reasons why we got in, but we got in at 111.45. So 111.45 was our entry, 109.50 was our exit short. And yes, Arwen, this will be recorded. This is recorded, and I will send this out to everyone. Make sure, guys, just a quick little reminder. Make sure to follow me on Twitter so that you can get. Make sure to follow me on Twitter there, and I will send this out. Also, I'm sure you guys are all on my emailing list, but I'll send out the recording on Twitter and on email so you guys can kind of review all this. So anyways, this dollar CAD is looking super interesting below 109.40. If it doesn't get there and it starts heading back up, I don't have any super exciting long entries that I'm really watching for, except for, you know, a typical double bottom. If this thing comes down and bounces on this 109.40 and heads back up again, I'll get in on that bounce, and I'll trade it with some stops below that 109.40 area. But it's got to be a nice, good bounce, good little pronounced bounce, easy to see. And then I'll look at trading that as a double bottom with some sort of breakout. But I'll have more clarity about that. For the moment, my big focus will be selling the break of 109.40 here. So that is dollar CAD. A couple other pairs moving like crazy. The Euro Pound's moving. The Euro Aussie is moving pretty well. The Euro Aussie kind of tried to give us this interesting bull flag that has started to sag a whole bunch. So we had all this news right here, the Aussie employment numbers, I think it was the employment numbers, we were watching it, shot up, and then this thing has just been consolidating down. And I'm looking for it to stay in this channel and eventually break out and head back up so that we have this kind of a pattern here. We have this guy, and then we have all this zigzagging down, and then we have this going on. And there is a really high likelihood of that happening. We have a nice missed weekly pivot up here at about 155.00. I'm not super confident we're going to get up there, but I'm kind of confident we're going to get up there because it also looks like we're working on a bit of an inverted head and shoulders pattern on this 4-hour chart. And we've got our neckline right here. So here's our neckline. And if we start breaking out of this kind of worn out bullish flag right here, that's probably going to put us above that neckline as well and take us into some of these upper targets. So I'm definitely looking for that. So at the moment, you know, somewhere I will plan on getting long Aussie dollar, probably somewhere above 150.200, 151.85. You know, not super far away from current market price, but probably up above this 151.95, 152.00 area. I'll start getting long Euro Aussie, and then once again I think we could have some pretty interesting targets as high as 155.00. So there's some kind of interesting stuff here on this Euro Aussie if we can get some momentum. So again, breaking out of that kind of puts us into movement on this inverted head and shoulders pattern, and then we can start trading up towards that 155.00. I still think the Euro Aussie, we had this nice rising wedge right here, and it just keeps bottoming out at 150. It hit 150, bounced way up off it. Hit 150 again, bounced off it pretty good. Hit 150 again, bounced off it pretty good, and it's just kind of consolidating on that. So below 150, I'm short, and above 150.200, I'm long. That's kind of where I am on this Euro Aussie, and I think there's going to be a lot of hundreds of pips in either way. Obviously, if we get above 150.200, I'm targeting probably 300 pips to that 155. And if we get below 150, I'm targeting 146.50, so about 350 pips. So I'm looking for 300 plus pips in either direction on the Aussie, Euro Aussie. So I think it's going to be a really nice one. Arwen, yeah, I like to trade off the 4-hour chart. I like to trade off the 1-hour chart, the daily chart. I do everything. But I'm more focused, to just clarify, I'm more focused on slightly longer term trades. I'm not going to look and wait for something for months and months to set up, but I do wait for, you know, sometimes I'll wait for a couple of weeks for a setup, and then I'll stay in a trade for a couple of weeks. Because I'm more interested in getting 3 and 4 and 500 pips out of the market than trying to scalp and kill myself and risk a bunch of money to make 20 or 30 or 40 pips. So we definitely look at that longer term picture and looking for those bigger setups. Tom, I absolutely plan on looking at the pound Aussie because I think that's a good setup. So thanks for reminding me on that one. So there we go, guys. That's the Euro Aussie again, above about 150-200 long, below about 150. We're short. And we're going to look for some nice big movements here. Starting right now, we have the monetary policy meeting minutes coming, so that's gonna get this guy moving a little bit. But it looks like a good little setups in the works here. Well, there we go. Look at that Euro Aussie just go. Oh, it is. Wow. All right. So it's hopping around a little bit. We're definitely getting some movement there. Let's look at the pound Aussie real quick. There's nothing too much more in dollar Swiss franc, pound Swiss franc. These guys are not looking too interesting to me yet. Dollar yen, not a big one I'm watching. New Zealand dollar. The only thing, let me just say this real quick about the New Zealand dollar. I don't have any really ideal setups, but we do have some missed pivots down here that'll be worth keeping an eye on. New Zealand dollar is really choppy, really messy, really kind of bleh. But just keep an eye on those lower levels. Okay, so here's the pound Aussie, and this is a very similar, as you said, Tom, this is a pretty similar setup as a Euro Aussie, and this one is actually a bit more of a textbook bull flag setup. It's just run pretty straight up. We've had our nice little consolidation right here. It's consolidating above some pivot points, above the 200 moving average. A lot of good things there. I still think we might get this thing dipping down into 184, 20, 30, 40 area before continuing higher. I'm just keeping that in mind. But if we do get a break of this bull flag, and the break is going to be just above this trend line, so the trend line could be, could be anywhere. It could be 185, 70, 80 area. But as soon as we get a break above that, I am going to be targeting most likely. I'm going to be targeting most likely 18800. So there's going to be a nice little 250 pip trade up into that area. So I think we have a really good chance there. We have a nice double bottom and a great bull flag setup. I mean, it's just as textbook as they come. So I'm pretty excited about this pound Aussie. I think there's going to be a really nice trade there. That 18800, we're gonna keep an eye on this larger picture though, because we could be very nicely forming a head and shoulders pattern. Now it seems pretty unlikely that the pound is going to weaken this much and the Aussie is going to strengthen this much, but I don't know. I don't argue with the setups. They are what they are, and they seem to play out pretty well. And so we're gonna keep an eye on that, but. This thing's dipping down now. There's that there's that level I was talking about. So let's see if this can stabilize above the 38% fib. This is 184.25 is that 38% fib right there. So we'll keep an eye on that. But again, there may be some opportunities to trade that bounce, but our safest bet is going to be by the break above the bull flag area, just because this thing's kind of hopping around a little bit. So and again, we'll be targeting 18800. So pound Aussie looks amazing. Euro Aussie looks amazing. Dollar CAD looks amazing. Aussie dollar. Let's see if this thing's going to break 90.65. That one looks super good. And pound dollar, we're looking for that bigger setup to play out as well. So we have some really nice setups. We have some really great moves in the works, and I think we've got some really good pips coming. So if any one of these trades plays out and you trade $1 a pip because you have a $500 account or something like that, there should be $200 or $300 of profit this week alone, easily. Now, if you're trading a little bit of a bigger account, maybe you're trading $5 a pip, maybe you're trading $10 a pip, maybe you're trading a full standard lot, then you should make a couple of $1,000 this week alone from these recommendations. Which is another reason why I'm upping the price a bit on the trade group, because we have had some really great longer term setups that have paid out and played out, and they have been very profitable. So that's the situation. Questions, comments, Manuel. Okay, yeah. You're talking about the Dow, I think, and you're referring to one of the forex charts there on the Dow. Talk about that in just 2 moments. Let me get this recording, formatting, and uploading right now, and then I'll get right back to you.